I never imagined love could feel like betrayal. Every choice I made, every empire I built, it all feels fragile now. I see him across the dimly lit room, smiling like he belongs here. I want to trust him, but I shouldn't. My heart fights my mind, and for the first time, I feel fear. I'm Isabella Romano, queen of this empire, and I just realized the most dangerous man isn't outside my walls, it's inside my heart. This is where everything begins to unravel. Welcome to the channel. Whether you're a first-timer or returning viewer, tell me, where are you watching from? Here, we tell stories that hit hard and stay with you. Stick around, hit subscribe if you feel like this story will hit you too. The meeting room smells of cigar smoke and tension. My lieutenants are murmuring, planning the next move against a rival gang in Chicago. I glance at the newcomer, Ethan Chen, leaning casually against the wall. His calm demeanor feels deliberate, precise, but something about him intrigues me. He speaks little, but when he does, his words carry weight. I've seen many men try to impress me. Few have held my attention this way. I note his eyes, they scan everything without panic. I remember the first time he answered a question directly to me. It was subtle, respectful, yet confident. I could tell the others didn't notice, but I did. Every instinct I have screams caution, yet something in me wants to test him, to see if he's more than he appears. My empire taught me to measure people carefully. With Ethan, I feel an unusual pull. I don't trust it, but I don't fight it yet. We head to the warehouse later that night. The smell of oil, steel, and secrecy fills the air. I walk beside Ethan, our steps echoing against the concrete. He asks simple questions. Careful, curious, not probing, but observant. I notice how he watches the guards, the layout, the exits. A subtle unease crawls up my spine. I tell myself I'm imagining things. Still, I feel a spark of something I haven't felt in years: vulnerability. We meet with a supplier, negotiating quietly. Ethan steps forward to support my decisions. His loyalty is obvious, and I feel a dangerous warmth in my chest. I realize I am counting on him without admitting it to myself. The supplier notices the tension, wary of our coordinated presence. I sense Ethan scanning every exit, every potential threat. I feel my heartbeat synchronize with his steps. It's terrifying how easily I let him in. Later, in the quiet of my office, I think about him. I never let anyone in. My empire is my life. Loyalty is everything, but Ethan's presence lingers, like smoke in my lungs. I pace the floor, considering whether I'm imagining trust or feeling something dangerous. I sit behind my desk, staring at a glass of whiskey I don't drink. I whisper to myself that this feeling is temporary, but deep down, I know it's not. The night is colder than usual. I find myself walking to the rooftop alone. Milwaukee sprawls beneath me, a city of lights and secrets. I can see the river reflecting faint city lights, and then I hear footsteps. Ethan. He doesn't speak, just joins me silently. We look at the horizon, a quiet understanding passing between us. I realize I am not supposed to feel this calm with anyone. I finally break the silence. What do you see out there? I ask him, trying to mask the tremor in my voice. He doesn't answer immediately, just studies me. Then he says, someone who shouldn't be questioning everything she's built. It hits me, he knows me in ways no one should. I feel exposed, nervous, alive. I'm terrified of this feeling and addicted to it at the same time. And that's when I realize, maybe, just maybe, I've underestimated him. Morning light filters through Venetian blinds, cutting lines across my office. The city is waking, but I feel trapped in the quiet tension Ethan left behind. I sip coffee, black, bitter, thinking of his calm demeanor. I analyze every gesture from last night, the tilt of his head, the way his eyes lingered. It makes me question my judgment, my instincts honed over decades. I am the queen of this empire, yet he unsettles me without a word. I stand and pace, imagining his movements in the warehouse yesterday. Something in me whispers that he's not just a soldier. I can't place the feeling, and that scares me. I call a meeting with my lieutenants. The agenda: securing our Chicago shipments, ensuring loyalty in the lower ranks. I notice Ethan observing quietly, yet participating when necessary. His calm authority challenges my own, but I mask it with a sharp nod. He doesn't overshadow me, he compliments me in ways that are unsettling. I watch him interact with the crew, noting how naturally people respond to his presence. I remind myself that trust is earned, not given, even to someone who stirs my emotions. I sense that the others see him as an asset, but I alone feel the undercurrent of something more. Later, I inspect the shipment arriving from Chicago. The crates are heavy, marked discreetly with codes only my inner circle can read. I see Ethan examining the crates, making notes without asking permission. His confidence irritates me, yet I feel a flicker of pride. I step closer, letting him know I see everything. He meets my gaze, unfazed. The air between us is charged, silent understanding building. I remind myself he is here for work, nothing more. But my heartbeat disagrees. The day moves into evening. I return to my car, streets of Milwaukee glistening with recent rain. Ethan walks beside me, calm as ever, and I notice how naturally our shadows merge under streetlights. We exchange no words, yet there's an intimacy that makes my chest tighten. I remind myself this is a professional relationship. I grip the steering wheel, telling myself I cannot afford distractions. But even now, I cannot shake the pull toward him. Every instinct warns me to pull back, yet I linger. I feel the tension between caution and desire, like a blade against my ribs. Later that night, I sit alone in my apartment, overlooking the city from a high-rise. I replay every interaction with Ethan in my mind, analyzing, questioning. Why does he unsettle me? Why do I feel drawn to him against my better judgment? I have faced betrayals before, men who sought my empire. Yet, for the first time, I fear losing more than territory. I fear losing myself. I sip wine, letting the bitterness remind me of caution. But part of me is intoxicated by his presence in my life. I receive a call from one of my lieutenants. He warns of suspicious activity near one of our warehouses. I grab my coat, leather gloves, ready for confrontation. Ethan joins me without hesitation. We move swiftly, a synchronized unit. I realize the efficiency we display together is unmatched. There's an unspoken trust forming, dangerous yet undeniable. I feel my pulse quicken not from adrenaline alone, but because he is near. Every step feels like testing the boundaries of control I thought I possessed. We reach the warehouse, and I immediately sense something is off. The door is slightly ajar, the lock tampered. I signal Ethan to stay behind while I enter cautiously. Inside, crates have been shifted. Nothing is missing yet. A whisper of fear slides down my spine. Ethan steps in, assessing the space, confirming my instincts. We exchange a brief glance, a mix of relief and tension. I recognize the efficiency, but my chest aches from the closeness. I can't allow this feeling to interfere with judgment. After confirming nothing critical was taken, I step outside. The night air is cold, sharp against my skin. I light a cigarette, inhaling deep, letting smoke curl into the dark. Ethan stands nearby, silent but aware. I feel a strange comfort in his presence, though danger looms constantly around us. I exhale slowly, telling myself, trust is temporary, emotion is dangerous. Yet, even with all my experience, I feel unprepared for what's coming. For the first time, I realize this empire I control may not survive the one thing I cannot control: my heart. The morning sun hits Milwaukee in harsh streaks, glinting off the steel of my office windows. I sit behind my desk, files spread before me, but my mind is elsewhere. Ethan has already begun organizing the next operation, his efficiency unnerving and magnetic. I watch him move, noting how naturally people defer to his judgment without questioning my authority. A dangerous thought strikes. Has he always had this influence? Or is it something about me that allows it? I shift uncomfortably, realizing I've been watching him more than the operation itself. Every detail, every glance, it all lodges itself in my mind. I tell myself I am imagining things, but my instincts rarely fail, and these instincts scream otherwise. I meet with my Chicago contacts, arranging the transfer of the next shipment. Ethan follows silently, standing back yet alert. I notice how he listens to every word, calculating, as if anticipating threats before they appear. The supplier leans toward me with concerns, hesitant about security. Ethan intervenes smoothly, presenting a solution I hadn't considered. The supplier nods, impressed, leaving me momentarily stunned. I feel a mix of pride and unease. Is this a partnership? Or am I being quietly undermined by someone I barely know? The thought gnaws at me, but I cannot deny how effective he is. Back in Milwaukee, the streets are quieter than usual. I walk through my favorite cafe, mentally reviewing the day's plans. Ethan follows, discreetly, a silent shadow. I can't help but notice how seamlessly he blends in, reading people, gauging reactions. I try to focus on the mundane coffee, receipts, schedules, but my thoughts keep returning to him. I remind myself he is here for a purpose. He is not here for me. But every instinct, every flutter in my chest tells a story my mind refuses to write down. I glance at him, and he meets my eyes. Expression neutral, but there is a subtle warmth I cannot place. Evening descends, and I find myself alone in the family-owned gym I maintained for security drills. I pace the mats, gloves in hand, thinking through contingencies. Ethan joins me, silently, his presence calming yet sharp. We spar briefly, skillful movements, controlled punches, training, not combat. I feel the closeness in each motion, the rhythm between us. It unnerves me. I win the last bout, but he smirks, eyes gleaming with a hidden emotion I cannot read. I remind myself, I am the boss. He is a tool. Yet the rush in my chest refuses to listen to logic. The call comes late at night. A rival gang has made a move near our northern docks. I grab my coat, gloves, and leather boots, signaling Ethan to follow. We move swiftly through dark streets, the city quiet except for our footsteps. The tension is electric, every shadow a potential threat. I notice how instinctively he mirrors my movements, covering angles I hadn't considered. I feel a brief, dangerous thrill, relying on him, needing him. I remind myself, this is work, nothing more. But inside, I tremble at the proximity, at the subtle dependence I feel. The docks are deserted, mist rolling off Lake Michigan, obscuring shapes and sounds. We approach cautiously, guns drawn, every step deliberate. Ethan signals left, I signal right. A silent choreography. A group of masked men emerges, but we are prepared. Shots fired, controlled chaos, every move rehearsed yet raw. We subdue the intruders quickly, my adrenaline spiking as his presence keeps me grounded. I feel a flash of something dangerous, appreciation, attachment, awareness that my control over him is slipping. I finish the last movement, breathing heavy, heart pounding not from the fight, but from him. We regroup back at the warehouse, counting the small losses from the attempted attack. Ethan checks security footage, noting patterns I had not considered. I watch him, recognizing the sharp intelligence, the precision, the loyalty that feels dangerous to my heart. I realize something crucial. Trusting him might be easier than I imagined, and the thought terrifies me. I pause, hand on the cold metal railing, watching him work, wishing I could separate personal feelings from this professional dependency. It is impossible. I inhale sharply, telling myself I cannot afford weakness. I step outside into the early hours, the first faint sunlight creeping across the horizon. Ethan follows silently, matching my pace, his presence both reassuring and dangerous. I glance at him and catch a flicker of something unspoken, a look that lingers too long. I remind myself, desire is a liability. Yet my chest aches with unacknowledged longing, and I realize, for the first time, that the line between empire and heart is thinner than I imagined. Before I can analyze further, he steps closer, handing me a file with details on the next operation. His fingers brush mine. A shiver runs through me. For the first time, I understand that my greatest strength could be my greatest vulnerability. Take a moment now, hit subscribe if you haven't already. You'll want to see what happens next. Night falls over Milwaukee, colder than usual. I stand on the rooftop of the warehouse, surveying the streets below. Every shadow feels heavier tonight, every sound amplified. Ethan joins silently, his presence calm, precise, unnervingly close. I feel the pull again, the one I refuse to acknowledge. It isn't just trust, it's dependence. I turn toward him, meeting his steady gaze. For a moment, everything else disappears. The phone rings. It's one of my lieutenants. Another rival crew is moving, this time from Chicago. I grab my coat and gun, signaling Ethan to prepare. We move silently through back alleys, avoiding the main roads. Every step feels rehearsed, every glance calculated. I feel his presence behind me, alert, protective, and it unsettles me more than I care to admit. We arrive at the location, an abandoned factory on the outskirts. The air smells of oil and decay, but my pulse quickens for a reason that isn't the fight. Inside, crates and machinery provide cover. We move like predators, silent and precise. The rival gang is careless, overconfident. Ethan signals me with a slight nod, and we strike together. The fight is swift, controlled, and terrifyingly efficient. I notice him watching me, analyzing, learning, yet protecting simultaneously. A jolt of awareness shoots through me. He is no ordinary ally. My chest tightens in ways I cannot name. After the last man is subdued, I step back, breathing hard, scanning the area. We exit the building into the cold night air. I pull my coat tighter, heart still racing not from exertion, but from proximity. Ethan hands me a small dossier he retrieved from one of the gang members. Our fingers brush, brief but electric. I remind myself, this is nothing more than work. Yet the thought feels like a lie. He meets my gaze, unflinching, a flicker of something unspoken in his eyes. I cannot name it, cannot trust it, cannot fight it. And still, I feel drawn closer. Back at the warehouse, I spread the dossier across the table. Ethan watches silently, offering insight without interrupting. He identifies weak points in our rival's operation I hadn't considered. I feel the duality again, admiration and irritation. He's effective, precise, intelligent, but dangerous to my heart. I pace the room, letting my thoughts swirl. A warning rings in my mind. Don't fall for this man. But even as I repeat it, I feel the impossibility of adhering to that warning. The danger isn't the enemies outside. It's the one inside the walls, beside me. Hours later, I retreat to the private elevator, heading to my penthouse. Ethan trails behind, quiet, always observant. I reach the top floor, pausing by the window, city lights glimmering below. I lean against the glass, thinking about everything, the fight, the dossier, the unspoken feelings. He steps closer, voice soft but firm. Isabella, we need to plan for the next move. I feel a shiver not from cold, but from the way he says my name. I remind myself he is nothing more than an ally. Yet I can feel the lie in my own words. Late into the night, I finally allow myself a moment of quiet reflection. I sit on the edge of my bed, hands clasped, staring at the ceiling. Everything is controlled my empire, my crew, my operations. Except for one thing, the pull I feel toward Ethan. It frightens me, exhilarates me, and I can't reconcile the two. I think about the first moment I noticed him, the first rooftop, the warehouse, the fight. All signs point to danger, But danger has never been so compelling. I whisper to myself, a confession I cannot say aloud. I think I'm falling. The city sleeps, but I cannot. I hear the faint hum of Ethan's presence in the other room, reviewing plans. I should leave. I should maintain distance. But I linger, watching, listening. Every instinct screams caution, yet my chest aches with unspoken desire. I know this line between professional necessity and personal vulnerability is dangerous. And I also know I cannot step back. The night stretches long, carrying with it the first true whisper of what could become my greatest undoing. I never thought loyalty could feel so heavy. Every decision, every command I give, weighs like lead when he's near. Ethan stands in the corner of the office, reviewing the security footage I barely have time to watch. His calm presence cuts through the chaos I normally control with ease. I notice the way he tilts his head, how every subtle movement is deliberate. It unnerves me, and yet it draws me closer. I remind myself he's here for a mission, not for me. But part of me wants him to stay. The next morning, Milwaukee is shrouded in mist. I drive to the docks, leather gloves gripping the wheel tighter than necessary. Ethan sits beside me, calm, eyes scanning every alley, every shadow. The docks feel different today, tense, charged, dangerous. I know a rival gang is watching, testing my defenses. I also know that with Ethan by my side, I feel a surge of confidence I rarely allow myself to experience. His presence makes me feel stronger, yet more vulnerable at the same time. I glance at him, fighting the pull of emotion that I know is dangerous. We approach the northern warehouse, and my pulse quickens. The perimeter looks untouched, yet something feels off. I hand Ethan a small earpiece, signaling him to stay alert. He nods, silent, calculating. I move inside cautiously, every step measured, my instincts on high alert. A shadow shifts across the back wall, and I freeze. Ethan moves in tandem, positioning himself to cover my blind spots. The moment is quiet, suspenseful, stretching like a taut wire ready to snap. Inside, I discover crates that have been tampered with, tools missing, but nothing stolen. It's a message. Someone wants me to know they were here, testing me, challenging me. I feel a mix of irritation and adrenaline. Ethan kneels beside a crate, examining the marks, calculating possibilities. I notice the subtle way he brushes a strand of hair from his forehead, absorbed in the task. It is infuriating and magnetic. I remind myself, he is an agent, not a man to fall for. But my chest feels heavy with thoughts I cannot control. We regroup outside, the night pressing in around us. Ethan speaks, quiet, strategic. I listen, letting the sound of his voice anchor me. I realize I depend on him more than I should, and the realization strikes me like a slap. I take a deep breath, steadying myself against the pull of his presence. My empire cannot falter because of my heart. Yet I cannot deny it. Every instinct, every heartbeat, screams his name in a whisper I cannot stop. The following day, I convene a meeting with my inner circle. We discuss rival movements, shipment schedules, and security gaps. Ethan participates silently, offering insights that even seasoned lieutenants acknowledge. I notice how everyone defers to him without realizing it, and a spike of possessiveness cuts through my calm. He is my ally, yes, but not mine in any personal sense, and that thought unsettles me. I leave the meeting briefly, stepping outside to clear my head. I pace along the balcony, letting the wind hit my face, trying to separate duty from desire. It is impossible. I return to the office to find Ethan alone, reviewing files. The silence between us is heavy, filled with unspoken thoughts. I close the door softly behind me, moving closer. He looks up, meeting my gaze. For a moment, the world narrows, leaving only the two of us in the quiet office. I want to ask the questions I cannot, to bridge the gap between us. Instead, I hand him a new file, forcing my hands to be steady, heart betraying me with each second. His eyes linger just a fraction too long, and I catch myself hoping it means something. Later, I lie awake in my penthouse, the city quiet beneath me. I replay every glance, every moment we shared today, the rooftop, the warehouse, the meeting. I am the ruler of my empire, yet I feel powerless in ways I've never allowed. The line between control and surrender blurs. I whisper to myself in the darkness, almost afraid to admit it aloud. I can't stop thinking about him. I know it's dangerous. I know it's a vulnerability I cannot afford. And yet, the thought persists, like a pulse I cannot ignore. The night air bites as I leave my penthouse, leather gloves pulled tight. A tip came in, someone is watching one of our warehouses. Ethan follows silently, his presence steady and reassuring. Yet each step beside him pulls me into a dangerous proximity. I move through the streets, every instinct screaming caution. We arrive to find surveillance cameras tampered with, a subtle warning left behind. I feel my chest tighten, not from fear alone, but from knowing someone is testing us, testing me. And I also feel Ethan's quiet confidence beside me, the calm eye in a storm that is both comforting and perilous. Inside the warehouse, crates sit untouched, but the signs of intrusion are clear. Footprints, fingerprints, subtle shifts in dust someone had been here recently. I trace the marks, mentally reconstructing the intruder's path. Ethan moves with me, silent, precise, covering angles I cannot see. His proximity is both unnerving and grounding. I remind myself, he is an agent, not a man to fall for. But my body betrays my logic, tension in my chest that has nothing to do with the danger around us. I feel a pull I cannot resist, the dangerous thrill of reliance on someone I should not trust. We regroup outside, the night fog curling over the asphalt. Ethan speaks quietly, outlining potential threats and gaps in our security. I listen, careful to mask the flutter in my chest as he leans closer to point out an angle I missed. The wind catches his coat, the shadows making him larger than life. For a split second, I imagine a life where I could trust him fully. Then reality crashes back. I am the boss. He is a spy. And one misstep could ruin everything I've built. The thought of betrayal gnaws at me. Yet my pulse betrays a deeper, dangerous truth. The next morning, I call a private meeting with my lieutenants. We plan a strategic countermeasure against rival crews, tightening our control over shipments. Ethan sits silently, observing, occasionally offering insight that I accept with careful calculation. I feel the unease of my crew sensing his influence, but none challenge him outright. I feel a twinge of possessiveness. He is an asset, yes, but mine in ways I cannot articulate. I leave the room briefly, stepping outside to clear my head, letting the chill air remind me of the line I cannot cross. It feels thinner than ever. Back in my private office, I sit with a file detailing recent rival activity. Ethan joins, leaning over the desk, pointing to subtle patterns I had overlooked. I feel the pull of competence, attraction, and the danger of reliance all at once. The way he analyzes, calculates, and acts, it is intoxicating. I know I should step back, maintain distance, but I cannot. His presence commands my attention, and my heart defies reason. Every instinct screams caution. Every heartbeat contradicts it. I realize I am already ensnared. Later, we conduct a routine check on one of our northern warehouses. The night is quiet, almost eerily so. I move carefully, every step deliberate, while Ethan mirrors me, scanning every corner. The shadows stretch unnaturally long across the concrete floor. I feel the familiar pull of dependence, the way his presence makes me feel both powerful and vulnerable. We reach the interior without incident, but I notice subtle anomalies in crate placements. A silent warning? The thought sends a shiver down my spine. Ethan's calm gaze meets mine, and for a fleeting second, I feel an unspoken understanding of danger and perhaps desire. Hours later, I retreat to my penthouse. The city lights sparkle below, a stark contrast to the tension I feel within. Ethan remains briefly, reviewing surveillance on his tablet. I watch him from the doorway, heart tightening at the casual authority he exudes. I remind myself this is strictly professional, and yet every instinct whispers otherwise. I step closer, and we share a glance heavy with unspoken truths. I inhale sharply, aware that this line I walk between loyalty, desire, and danger is thinner than ever. Late into the night, I lie awake, haunted by the events of the day. I replay every glance, every calculated move, every shared moment of trust and proximity. I know I am playing a dangerous game, one that could unravel everything. And yet, I cannot stop thinking about him, the agent who is supposed to betray me, but who has already begun to infiltrate my heart. I whisper into the darkness, almost afraid to admit it aloud. I can't deny it anymore. I need him, and that terrifies me. The city sleeps below, but I am wide awake, aware that my greatest threat may not be outside these walls, but inside. I never thought a single conversation could make my world tremble. Ethan stands across from me in the office, leaning casually against the desk. His eyes are steady, calculating, but there is a flicker of something I cannot name. I feel exposed, vulnerable, yet I am compelled to listen. He begins outlining a strategy for intercepting rival shipments. Every word is precise, every suggestion sharp, and I realize that with him, my empire feels stronger, but my heart feels weaker. The next day, a courier arrives with encrypted messages from Chicago. I scan them, but Ethan steps forward, reading the codes with ease I do not possess. I feel both admiration and unease. He is brilliant, unflinching, and every instinct screams caution. Yet I cannot deny that relying on him feels inevitable. The line between professional necessity and personal attachment grows perilously thin. I stand behind him, watching every move, my pulse tightening in ways unrelated to danger. By evening, the city is cloaked in fog. I drive toward a meeting with a trusted lieutenant. Ethan is beside me, scanning streets, alert and calm. Every shadow feels amplified tonight, every alley a potential threat. I realize my heartbeat is no longer entirely my own. It reacts to him, to his proximity. I cannot allow myself to rely on someone who may betray me, yet I do. The duality terrifies me, yet excites me in equal measure. I grip the wheel tighter, forcing my thoughts back to strategy and survival. We reach the meeting spot, an abandoned industrial lot. I step out cautiously, gun concealed beneath my coat. Ethan mirrors my movements. Silent, calculated, the lieutenant emerges from the shadows, relieved to see me. We discuss shipment logistics, potential threats, and gaps in security. Every movement is precise, deliberate. I notice Ethan's subtle gestures, anticipating threats I haven't even identified. It unnerves me, yet I cannot deny the thrill of his competence. Later, back at the warehouse, I review footage from the industrial lot. Ethan sits close, explaining subtle anomalies I hadn't noticed. I feel a dangerous pull toward him, an attachment I cannot control. I remind myself, he is here for the FBI, not for me. Yet the reality of my feelings crashes through every rational thought. I feel a flutter of fear and desire intertwined. I cannot let this interfere with the empire I've built. And yet, every instinct tells me it already has. Hours later, I walk the rooftop again, city lights reflecting off wet concrete from a passing drizzle. Ethan joins silently, the distance between us electric. We exchange no words, but the weight of unspoken thoughts fills the space. I feel my pulse quicken at his proximity, a dangerous, thrilling sensation. I remind myself of the stakes: loyalty, empire, survival. Yet the pull of desire is undeniable. I glance at him, searching for a hint of what he feels, but his expression is unreadable. And I hate that uncertainty, hate that I crave it. Later, I am alone in the penthouse, reviewing shipment records. A subtle knock interrupts my focus. Ethan enters without invitation, holding a folder with updated intelligence. He steps close, glancing at the records, and I feel a shiver run through me. I remind myself this is work. Yet my chest tightens. My thoughts betray me. I realize that the boundary between professional and personal is dissolving faster than I can control. And the truth scares me, terrifies me even. The night stretches on, quiet except for the soft hum of the city below. I lie on my bed, replaying every interaction, every glance, every calculated move. I know the line I'm walking is perilously thin. The empire demands control. The heart demands surrender. And I am caught between them, powerless, aware that this pull toward Ethan may become my undoing. I whisper into the darkness, almost afraid to admit it aloud. I am already falling, and I cannot stop. The morning is heavy with fog, thick over Milwaukee's industrial districts. I arrive at the northern warehouse, scanning shadows with practiced caution. Ethan is already there, leaning casually, but alert. I feel the pull again, the one I am trying desperately to resist. Inside, crates are stacked meticulously, but a small anomaly catches my eye. A missing shipping manifest. My pulse accelerates, awareness snapping to full alert. I turn to Ethan, expecting calm guidance, but I also notice the flicker in his eyes concern, calculation, something more. And for the first time, I wonder if he knows more than he's letting on. I move inside, carefully inspecting each crate. Footprints and subtle marks suggest tampering, but nothing definitive yet. Ethan joins me silently, scanning the area with uncanny precision. I feel the dangerous mix of admiration and distrust stirring within me. Every step we take together is synchronized, instinctive, almost too perfect. And then the first realization hits, someone inside my operation might be leaking information. I sense it before I can confirm it. A quiet gnawing that cannot be ignored. We step outside to regroup, fog curling at our feet. I speak first, voice low, controlled. "We have a leak," I tell him. Though part of me is testing him, seeing how he reacts. He nods, calm, as if already aware. His composure unnerves me and sparks a dangerous admiration. I realize my instincts are compromised, my judgment shadowed by his presence. And I hate that I feel relief in relying on him, knowing he could betray me at any moment. A subtle shiver runs through me, not from cold. We trace the breach back to a trusted lieutenant, one I have relied on for years. Evidence is subtle but undeniable. Altered ledgers, discrepancies in shipments. I feel a pang of betrayal sharper than any rival attack I have faced. Ethan kneels beside the ledger, pointing out patterns I had overlooked. I notice the closeness in our posture, the way our heads are almost touching over the papers. A wave of forbidden emotion hits me, dangerous and undeniable. I remind myself, he is here to spy. And yet, I cannot stop feeling trust. I call an emergency meeting with my inner circle. The lieutenant is confronted, visibly shaken. Ethan stands beside me, silent but authoritative. I feel a mix of triumph and danger. The power to expose betrayal is mine, yet the presence of Ethan complicates every emotion. The lieutenant confesses to minor complicity, claiming external pressure from rival gangs. I see the fear in his eyes, and I know my judgment must be precise. I cannot let emotion cloud my decisions. Yet, Ethan's presence continues to disrupt my equilibrium. After the confrontation, I retreat to my penthouse, heart still pounding. Ethan follows, bringing a folder with further intelligence on rival activity. The air between us is thick, charged with something unspoken. I know I should maintain distance, guard my heart, yet I cannot. Every instinct tells me he is dangerous, and every other instinct, foolish, reckless, tells me I am drawn to him. I sit, opening the folder, letting his presence linger, aware that this is a line I am crossing with every second. Late night, I walk to the rooftop, the city below cloaked in mist and distant lights. Ethan steps beside me silently, matching my pace. The tension is unbearable, a magnetic pull I cannot resist. I whisper to myself, almost afraid to voice it aloud. I can't deny it anymore. He glances at me, expression unreadable, and I feel both hope and fear simultaneously. I know my empire is at stake. I know my heart is at stake. And I know that the danger outside pales in comparison to what is happening inside me. Hours later, alone in my penthouse, I replay the day's events. The betrayal, the confrontation, Ethan's calm competence, it all weighs heavily on me. I feel exhilarated and terrified in equal measure. My mind is a whirlwind of strategy, emotion, and suspicion. I know the first major betrayal has occurred inside my ranks. I also know the more dangerous betrayal may come from the man I trust most. I whisper into the darkness, trembling. The Empire can survive the traitors outside, but can I survive the one inside my heart? I never imagined that trust could feel like a trap. Ethan stands silently beside the planning table, reviewing maps of rival activity with precision I cannot match. Every detail he points out strengthens our empire, but chips away at the barrier I have built around my heart. I feel both empowered and powerless at once. His calm competence makes me want to rely on him completely. And yet, a part of me fears that doing so will be my undoing. I glance at him, catching the faintest flicker of something in his eyes. I am both captivated and terrified. The day stretches long, filled with operational checks and strategic planning. I notice the way Ethan anticipates moves I had not considered, the way his mind operates in tandem with mine. It unsettles me, ignites a thrill, and makes me question my control. We pause briefly, and I find myself studying him more than the plans before us. I feel a dangerous pull, curiosity, attraction, something I cannot name but cannot deny. I remind myself, he is here for the FBI, yet every instinct screams otherwise. Late afternoon, I drive to inspect the southern docks. Ethan rides beside me, silent, his eyes scanning every street, every alley. The fog makes everything uncertain, but his presence is a strange anchor. I realize that I have begun to rely on him not just for protection, but for clarity, for guidance, for comfort. I try to dismiss the thought. I am Isabella Romano. I do not need anyone, and yet I crave him. I grip the wheel tighter, forcing myself to focus on the streets ahead. We arrive at the docks and inspect crates recently shipped from Chicago. Everything seems intact, yet I cannot shake the feeling that eyes have been on us. Ethan moves alongside me, noting every small anomaly. I feel a strange reassurance in his presence, yet a flicker of doubt nags at the edges of my mind. I wonder, how much does he know that I don't? I also wonder if I could survive discovering the answer. I glance at him, unable to mask the flutter in my chest, and he meets my gaze with unspoken intensity. Returning to the warehouse, I convene a meeting with the lieutenants to plan contingencies. Ethan participates, offering precise advice that sways the group's decisions. I feel a mix of admiration, unease, and possessiveness. I remind myself, he is not mine. He is a tool, a necessary ally, and potentially my greatest danger. Yet I catch myself hoping his loyalty is absolute, even as I know it cannot be. The room feels charged, every glance, every nod, carrying weight far beyond business. Later, alone, I review surveillance footage with Ethan. He points out subtle patterns, unseen threats, rival gang movements. I feel my chest tighten as his hand brushes mine while pointing to a monitor. It is unintentional, but the electricity between us is undeniable. I remind myself, he is an agent, here to betray. Yet my heart betrays me with every pulse, every glance, every lingering touch. The Empire may survive the external threats, but can it survive my own vulnerability? Night falls, and I find myself walking the rooftop again, city lights reflecting off wet pavement. Ethan joins silently, as always, and the distance between us is magnetic. I feel my heartbeat accelerate with his proximity. I whisper to myself, I cannot let this happen. He glances at me, expression unreadable, yet I sense a pull of recognition, of something more. For the first time, I realize the danger is not the rival gangs, not the leaks, it's him. And the thought terrifies me. Hours later, alone in my penthouse, I replay every moment. The rooftop, the docks, the warehouse, the meetings. I feel the conflicting currents inside me. Trust, desire, suspicion, need. Ethan is my greatest ally. He may also be my greatest threat. I whisper into the darkness, almost afraid to admit it aloud. I am caught between empire and heart, and I fear I may lose both. The city sleeps below, but I am wide awake, fully aware that the next move, mine or his, could change everything. The night is heavy with tension as I drive toward a secret meeting spot. Ethan sits beside me, eyes scanning streets, alert and unreadable. Every instinct warns me someone inside my empire is working against us. I grip the wheel tighter, heart racing for reasons I cannot fully acknowledge. He doesn't speak, only offers subtle nods and suggestions. The silence between us is charged, dangerous, intimate. I feel drawn to him, despite the warning signs, despite the knowledge that he could betray me at any moment. We arrive at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The fog rolls in, curling around stacked crates and rusted machinery. I move cautiously, gun hidden beneath my coat, senses heightened. Ethan mirrors every motion, his presence both reassuring and alarming. Inside, I discover signs of tampering, footprints, marks, subtle clues someone was here. A spark of fear grips me, not from danger alone, but from the realization that someone close is leaking information. I glance at Ethan, searching for hints, and find none. We regroup outside, analyzing evidence. I call out discrepancies in shipment records, comparing them to logs from the previous week. Ethan kneels beside me, pointing out subtle anomalies, his proximity stirring emotions I am trying desperately to control. A revelation hits me. The betrayal is closer than I thought, and I feel a dangerous mix of anger and vulnerability. I realize that trusting anyone completely is a risk I may not survive. Yet I cannot deny the pull I feel toward him, the strange comfort his presence brings. Back at the warehouse, I call my inner circle to confront the suspected lieutenant. The evidence is clear, and the betrayal is undeniable. Ethan stands silently beside me, his calm presence steadying me even as anger surges. The lieutenant confesses under pressure, revealing coercion from rival gangs. I feel a mixture of triumph and fear the Empire survives, but at a personal cost. Ethan's eyes meet mine briefly, and I catch a flicker of something dangerous, something unspoken. My chest tightens with conflicting emotions, trust, suspicion, desire. Later, I retreat to my penthouse, but the night is restless. Ethan follows, bringing updated intelligence on rival movements. The air between us is electric, charged with unspoken emotion. I struggle to maintain control, reminding myself he is an agent, a potential betrayer. And yet, I cannot resist the draw, the pull of needing him near. I sit with the folder in my hands, heart racing, aware that every glance, every gesture, every shared secret is eroding my defenses. Hours later, I find myself on the rooftop, wind tugging at my coat. Ethan joins silently, matching my pace. We stand overlooking the city, fog curling around distant lights. The silence is heavy, charged with unspoken words. I feel my heartbeat accelerating in ways unrelated to the danger outside. I whisper under my breath, I shouldn't feel this way. He glances at me, expression unreadable, and the pull between us tightens. Dangerous, irresistible. I realize the stakes are higher than ever, betrayal outside, vulnerability inside. Later, alone in my penthouse, I replay every interaction. The warehouse, the rooftop, the confrontation. The betrayal has shaken my empire, but the greater risk feels internal, tied to him. Every glance, every touch, every shared moment is a dangerous compromise. I cannot fully trust him, yet I cannot stay away. I whisper into the darkness, almost afraid to hear my own voice. How can I protect the empire when my heart is already lost? The city sleeps below, but I lie awake, aware that the greatest threat may come from within. Hours bleed into early dawn, the first light catching the city skyline. I stare at the ceiling, contemplating the impossible choice ahead. Trust the man who could destroy me, or guard my heart at the cost of weakening my empire. The weight of empire, loyalty, betrayal, and desire presses down. I know the next steps I take, both professionally and personally, will determine everything. I whisper one last time, trembling. I cannot stop this, and I fear what it will cost me. Take a moment now, hit subscribe, like, and comment. Because the empire, the heart, and the betrayal are only going to escalate from here. I never imagined that one morning could feel like a knife against my chest. Ethan stands silently in the warehouse, reviewing recent surveillance reports. Every instinct tells me something is off. I feel the pull in my chest, the dangerous mix of trust, desire, and fear. He turns to me, expression unreadable, and my heart lurches despite every warning I've given myself. I realize that the walls I built around my heart are crumbling, brick by brick, and I am powerless to stop it. A call comes in, warning of a rival shipment headed straight for our northern docks. I grab my coat, gloves, and weapon, signaling Ethan to follow. We move through misty streets, every step deliberate. I notice how he mirrors my movements instinctively, covering angles I hadn't even considered. It is unnerving, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. I tell myself this is strategy, not emotion. Yet my heartbeat betrays me, racing faster whenever he is near. We reach the northern docks and spot the rival crew unloading crates. Ethan signals silently, and we move in with precision. Shots are fired, crates are toppled, chaos erupts. I feel the rush of adrenaline, the control of command, but also the sharp awareness of his presence beside me. He fights beside me seamlessly, instinct and trust intertwined. Every moment with him is electric, charged with danger and an unspoken intimacy I cannot ignore. And I realize my greatest vulnerability isn't the rival crew, it's him. After the fight, we regroup behind a shipping container, catching our breath. Ethan hands me a dossier detailing rival movements I had overlooked. His fingers brush mine briefly, and I feel a shiver I cannot suppress. I remind myself, he is an agent, here to betray. And yet, my heart screams against reason. I see in his eyes something fleeting, a softness that terrifies and draws me at once. I inhale sharply, aware that I am walking a line between empire and heart that may break me. Hours later, we return to the warehouse. I review records while Ethan monitors security footage. I notice something, an unfamiliar face lingering on cameras, watching our every move. I freeze, realization dawning. Someone inside our empire has betrayed us. And before I can process, a whisper in my ear, Ethan's voice. We need to move quickly. They know more than we thought. I feel both panic and the familiar pull of reliance on him. I know he's keeping secrets, but I cannot tear myself away. The betrayal becomes undeniable. Evidence points to a lieutenant I had trusted implicitly. I confront him, fury and betrayal coursing through my veins. Ethan stands beside me silently, his calm presence both grounding and maddening. The lieutenant confesses, revealing manipulation by rival gangs, but his eyes shift toward Ethan subtly, hinting at deeper intrigue. I feel the first sharp edge of doubt pierce me. Is Ethan fully loyal, or is there more I do not see? My chest tightens, heart racing for reasons beyond anger. Later, alone in the penthouse, I replay every moment of the betrayal, every glance, every action Ethan took. I question my instincts, my judgment, my heart. I realize I am caught in a web of loyalty and desire, unable to separate the two. The walls I built to protect my empire are crumbling from within. And I understand, with terrifying clarity, that the man I trusted most may also be my undoing. I whisper into the darkness, trembling. How do I fight him when part of me already has? The city sleeps, but I do not. I hear Ethan moving in the other room, reviewing plans, and I feel a mix of trust, fear, and desire. I know the next confrontation will determine everything: empire, loyalty, heart. I stand by the window, looking over the city I have fought to control, and I whisper one last time, a confession to no one but myself. My greatest strength is also my greatest weakness, and it has a name. The night stretches long, carrying with it the inevitability of truth, betrayal, and heartbreak. The sun hasn't risen, but I am already in motion. Ethan is beside me, reviewing intel, his expression unreadable. Every instinct screams danger, but I follow because I must, because I trust him. Despite every warning, the city is quiet beneath us, fog curling through empty streets. I feel the pull of inevitability, the weight of everything we have fought for and lost. And then I see him, the lieutenant, moving suspiciously near one of our southern warehouses. My heart spikes, adrenaline surging, mixing with something far more complicated. We confront the lieutenant at the warehouse. His hands shake as I demand answers, fury and betrayal lacing every word. Ethan stands silently, observing, his calm presence unnerving me in ways I cannot name. The lieutenant confesses everything: his dealings with rival gangs, the pressure he couldn't resist. I feel triumph, but it is short-lived. Because in the corner of my eye, I catch Ethan making a subtle call on his phone, and my blood runs cold. I step closer to Ethan, heart pounding. "Who are you calling?" I demand, voice low but sharp. He freezes, then looks at me, expression unreadable. I have to confirm something," he says, carefully neutral. I feel my chest tighten, a mix of anger, fear, and longing. I realize the truth: he has been hiding more than just allegiance. And the pull I feel toward him becomes a razor's edge, dangerous and irreversible. The lieutenant escapes in the chaos, leaving us alone. Ethan turns to me, eyes locking with mine. I feel my defenses crumble, my heart and mind in turmoil. "You can't trust anyone fully," he says quietly, almost too calmly. I realize the betrayal is complete. The empire outside is vulnerable, and the empire inside my heart is already broken. I take a step back, breathing hard, aware that every instinct tells me to push him away. But I cannot. The desire, the need, the trust I've built, it's a force I cannot resist. Later, I retreat to my penthouse, adrenaline giving way to exhaustion. Ethan follows, dossier in hand, eyes calm yet unreadable. I feel a dangerous longing, a pull toward him. I cannot resist. I remind myself, he is an agent here to betray, here to dismantle what I built. Yet my body, my mind, my heart scream the opposite. I realize that the line between empire and heart has blurred irrevocably. Every glance, every touch, every shared secret has undermined my defenses. Night falls, heavy and oppressive. I confront Ethan finally, words spilling out with a mix of anger and desperation. "Tell me the truth. Are you here for me, or are you here to destroy me?" He hesitates, the silence stretching unbearably. And then, with a quiet gravity, he confesses. He is here for both. I feel my chest shatter in ways I cannot stop, betrayal and desire colliding violently. And yet, part of me cannot turn away, cannot resist the pull that has haunted me from the first moment. The revelation hits like a storm. Everything I built, every relationship, every calculated move feels fragile. Ethan's calm eyes meet mine, and I realize I am completely exposed, heart, mind, and empire. I feel a mix of rage, longing, and despair I cannot untangle. The city sleeps below, oblivious, while my world fractures above. And I whisper into the darkness, the truth burning in my chest. This is my empire, my heart, and it's all slipping through my fingers. The morning light filters through the curtains, soft but merciless. I sit at the edge of the bed, silent, aware that nothing will ever be the same. The betrayal is complete, the lieutenant. The rival gangs, Ethan's divided loyalty. I feel the weight of everything I have fought for and everything I have lost. And yet, a small, dangerous part of me still clings to him, to what we had, to the impossible pull between us. I whisper one last time. I ruled the Mafia until love destroyed me. Subscribe, like, comment, and stay connected because empires fall, hearts break, and stories like this don't end quietly.